Hello out there in TV land. I am Amy Black Swan and I'm back again with another video. This is going to be a tutorial on how I bleach my knots. So I have a closure from Yolissa Hair and I have some of my tools I need. I have the 40 developer pack of clear all powder to mix with the developer. I don't know the technical term, but you have to mix with the developer to make the solution. You need Reynolds wrap, one of those hair dyeing brushes, and I just used one of my old food containers. I haven't used it in a while, and I just thoroughly scrubbed it out, and that's what I use to mix my chemicals in. So just disregard my extremely crusty, dusty hands. I was washing my dishes. I wash my dishes with bleach and my hands get really dry, and then on top of that I ripped off my nails, so I still have like nail polish or nail powder residue on there, so they look kind of yellow brown. So anyway, that is how the closure looks before the bleaching. Now they do have baby hairs and they bleached the knots, but I mean they plucked it. They plucked it and gave me baby hairs on the closure, which is extremely helpful. But to further take it up a notch, I am going to bleach the knots because the knots are really black and I need to look like actual hair follicles, which are not super dark black. They're a little light. I can blend it into the scalp a little more. So basically I'm taking that little clear off powder I got at my local beauty supply, and I take that and I poured about half of it into the container. You can basically use any plastic container. So I poured it into the container, and then I'm gonna mix the developer in with it. I'm gonna put a little bit at a time because when you're bleaching your knots, you wanna make sure it's the consistency of cottage cheese, or you wanna do more like cottage cheese or like sour cream that's gone bad, but not feta. You know, like feta cheese is just too thick. So you want it like a nice in between. You want it to just look like cheese that's gone bad and not thick cheese where it's like in balls. So I just put a little bit at a time, and then I just make sure that it's stirred in very well so I can get an accurate consistency, because if you put too much, it's gonna get watery real quick. It's gonna get watery as you stir, not off the rip, but it's gonna get watery as you stir. So you have to be very careful with that. So basically, to make sure I have the correct consistency, after I stir it, I will lift up my brush and see if the little chemical compound I just created that's burning my eyes, I try to see if it's falling off of my brush. If it falls off my brush, so it kind of looks like plaster. So if it's falling off my brush, then it's too watery. I'll add a little more powder, but it should kind of be pretty thick, like some stucco. So I just pat it on to the closure or the frontal, my lace or whatever. And so I'm just gonna pat it on with a light hand, trying to press too hard because I just wanted to stick on the I just wanted to hit the knots. I don't need to bleed through. If you have it bleed through, then you're stuck with black hair with brassy roots, and that's really not a cute look. So I'm just gonna tap it all the way through. If this is your if you are like a first time lace bleacher, I highly recommend you starting on a small area of the lace and then trying that out first to see if you got the hang of it. Do it on a part of the lace that you know that you can cut off or you are gonna cut off. So, or a part that's not easily seen, like beside the ears, if you have like a full lace wig or a frontal. If it's a closure, just do it on one of the corners of the lace, or like on the back side where it starts to do like a little hump, or it turns into like a U, not the front part, the back part. You can try right there, very small area, see if you can get it together. Make sure that basically you can kind of get the hang of it before going in, and then you might potentially destroy a very nice closure. So just do that. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward because you kind of get the idea of it at this point. Okay, so now we have moved on to the foil. So the reason why I'm using foil is because it's just to help the bleach work a little faster. Because the longer you keep the bleach on your closure, your lace, your hair, it does more damage. So you just want to do its job as quickly as possible, and that's what the foil is for. So I just have it hovering over it. I try my best not to press it down because it's gonna make the bleach bleed through, and we don't want that. So after it's done, I let it sit for about 15-20 minutes because it took a little longer than I wanted to take. I'm gonna take my Suave Moroccan shampoo and conditioner I got from the Dollar General. I love the Dollar General. And I'm just gonna do like 4 or 5 washings to make sure all the bleach is out. Because if you don't get all the bleach out, the bleach is gonna keep working. And if you're like, when you wake up in the morning, your whole clothes is gonna be super fresh. You don't want that. So it turned out pretty good, especially for my skill set. And now when I actually make my wig, I can just give it a light plucking, and when I actually install it to my actual head, it looks way more convincing than it would have if I just didn't bleach it. So now I just want to show y'all the bundles in itself before I actually shampoo and condition them. So far, as I'm running my fingers through and looking at the actual wefts, it looks like it's a high density in the weft itself, and it looks like it already came conditioned, so it's a good sign. I just want to see how it's going to take after I run it under some water and shampoo and condition it. Now this is the hair. I turned it into a wig. I did it the lazy way. I just glued it onto a cap. Click it back and do it. So that's how it looks like. It's that residue you see there. And then I have the closure sewn onto the cap. Now this is how the wig looks when it's all brushed out and dried. So it has a nice full look if you want more of like a natural type of texture to the hair, but it waves up very nicely. And here is the closure because I went ahead and plucked it, and yeah, it turned out really good. It turned out way better than I expected it to be, even though I could have did a little better job on the actual closure itself. But I'm not complaining about it because any parts that I don't like, it's not to the point to where I can't cover it up with hair because it's a lot of hair. That wig is dense. The wefts that they gave me is very, very dense. So now I'm gonna start gluing the hair down. I'm actually gonna mix my Gots to Be spray and my Gots to Be glue together. I actually seen somebody do this, a young lady do this on Instagram. I do not know her name. It was on my Explore page. So that's what I'm gonna do. I did it before and it wound up sticking very well because the spray is too watery and the glue is too thick. So putting the two together gives it a nice density to where, you know, I can place it and it's not running everywhere, and it's giving me a lot of hold. Basically, we do this anyway when we're making a ball cap. We're putting glue and the spray together. So basically it's the same difference. It's just skipping a step and mixing it together from the beginning. So now I'm just taking a pan, one of those cheap metal pans, and mixing it all together. And then I'm just gonna place it right around my hairline in the middle where my closure is going to set. I'm just gonna place that on and spread it around evenly. And then I'm just gonna start putting my wig on, blow drying it, and making sure the hairs from the wig itself is not sticking to the glue as it's drying. So just taking the tail end of my comb, I'm pressing down the lace and pulling the hair back and pressing down the lace. Did I say that right? Pressing down the lace, pulling the hair back while it's drying. So yeah, it's a pretty easy process, and you can kind of see where the closure on the edges is not, smooth. But after I let it dry and tie it down, it's gonna lay down a little better. And then also on the edges, I don't have to really worry about it because it's gonna be covered up by hair. Now that that glue has dried up, I'm going to just pull in front a little baby hairs. Somebody actually asked me why the baby hairs. Why? You pull the baby hairs in the front. Sometimes because, like, for people like me, if you have a forehead that is a little more pronounced, it kind of gives your hairline a nice little shape. And or if your lace isn't blending into your skin as well as you would like it, you use the baby hairs to kind of cover up some of that part right there. It's a nice subtle way to camouflage. Now, if it's like a ridiculous amount of baby hairs, it's probably a bad lace. So I just have a few, and basically on this one, because the hair is natural, I personally just like natural looking hairs with the baby hairs. Natural looking hair with baby hairs. I can't talk. So I'm just taking some styling foam and swooping those baby hairs into place. I cut them down and just slap some foam on there and just use your finger and your little brush and get it together. For me personally, I'm gonna have to figure out a way I can explain that better, because when I do it on my clients versus I do it myself, it's completely different. I usually just go by what I'm offered at that moment, because sometimes the wigs that I'm putting on other people are not that it's not 100% human, and then some people's foreheads are just different than mine, so the style is just different, or the tools that I have available is just not what I have at my house. So yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out a way I can explain a little better, because this is definitely a beginner 1, 2, 3. So this hair is very big. It comes off very poofy, but in real life, it has a beautiful wave pattern. So I really do appreciate the quality of this hair. No shedding. You'll see I'm gonna put heat on it as well, but all the abuse that I gave to it thus far, it has been able to, take it in stride and not like fall apart on me or get damaged at the ends. So now I'm just gonna see how it looks straightened out. I got some Beyond the Zone heat protectant. I sprayed a strip, and then now I'm using my Baby Bliss flat iron, and I'm doing a couple of runs through it. I'm actually going a little too fast with the flat iron. What you're supposed to do is slowly go through your hair and then also comb in front of the flat iron. But for doing a few quick swipes, it looks really straight. So this hair is versatile enough for you to straighten it out and or wear it big and poofy, or you can do like I'm about to do right now, wet it down and braid it so you can have more defined waves. So what I just did here was I just wet it really good, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and do a nice tight braid. This is what I do with all my curly hair when I need to get like a defined wave pattern back, because I straightened it out. So there goes my baby girl. I forgot what she wanted. She always liked to play with my stuff. So I'm just taking the styling foam, slapping that onto the braid, and then I am drying that braid completely down. If I was to do this all over my head, I would leave it overnight. I would do it before I go to bed, leave it overnight, and then real gently unravel the braid, and then the hair goes right back to its original form. It's still a little wet though. When I did it, I was a little wet. But if I didn't run my fingers through it so much, you can see it has like a nice soft wave pattern. And the more you run your fingers through it, of course, the bigger it gets. But it doesn't get so big where it's Diana Ross hair. It's more like Ashley Banks hair on Fresh to Bel-Air. If she had like just 2 or 3 more bundles in her hair would look like this. So yeah, I highly recommend. This is very much summertime vacation hair. video was helpful in some way, shape, or form, please like,